Hi, first grade. Today we're going to look at telling time to the hour. Today I will learn to tell time to the hour, to write time in standard notation, that the hour hand is the shorthand that tells the hour, and the minute hand is the longhand that tells the minutes. If you look at this page, we see that there are two clocks. The first one we see is what we call an analog clock. An analog clock is a clock that has moving hands. An analog clock also is a clock that usually is marked with numbers 1 through 12. If you look at the picture, you see that this clock does have moving hands, it's the little arrows, and that it is numbered from 1 to 12. The second type of clock that you will find is what we call a digital clock. A digital clock is a clock that does not have moving hands. A digital clock also shows digital numbers. If you look at the picture, you see that is a digital clock. There are no hands, and there are numbers, but they're digital numbers, meaning it looks like someone wrote them in, like a computer wrote them in. Now, if we look at these two clocks, you will notice that they are different, but they do have one thing in common. They both tell time. Now, we see an analog clock and we have seen a digital clock. Every day you see one of these two types of clocks. We see analog clocks, for example, in our classroom. We have a clock hanging on the wall that has hands on it. That is what we call an analog clock. Or you may see a digital clock. For example, microwaves have clocks on them and they are going to be digital, as well as your parents' cell phones will have a digital clock on it as well. So let's learn. Now, if you look on this page, we see there are the two clocks, the analog and the digital clock. Again, we are learning that the long hand is going to be the minute hand, and the short hand is going to be the hour hand. So if we look at the analog clock, remember the analog clock is the clock with the hands, you see that the hour hand or the short hand is pointed to the 7. And the long hand or the minute hand is pointed to the 12. When we see the hour hand pointed to a number, we know that that is going to start out our time when we're telling time. So it is 7. Now we need to tell the minutes. Now because the minute hand or the long hand is pointed to the clock, the 12, we know that that is automatically 7 o'clock. So if someone asked you to look at this clock and tell the time, you would say it is 7, that's the hour, o'clock, because the minute hand is pointed to the 12. Now, if you look at the digital clock, you see there are no hands. However, it tells a time as well. Now, 7, you see the 7 on the digital clock, that's your hour. The hour is always written first. And the 00, the 00 is going to tell you the minutes. The 12 on a clock is o'clock or 00. So if it is 7 o'clock, then it is 700. Now remember I told you that both clocks do have something that is similar. They are something that's the same, and they also have things that are different about them. I want you to think about it, talk it over with your parents, how you think they are the same and how they are different. Let's practice a little bit. Now I have put 4 clocks on your screen. And all of these clocks, the round clocks, are going to be what we call, what type of clock is it? Is it digital or analog? Which one? Which one? Yes, you're right, it's analog. So if you look at these round clocks, you see they have hands, and that's how we know that they are analog clocks. Now, and they also underneath have where we tell how to write it out. And then at the bottom, you see the rectangle, that's going to represent our digital clock. So we have to both be able to tell time using an analog clock and a digital clock. So let's look at number one. Number one's a tricky one because it appears that there's only one hand, but that's not true because the little hand and the big hand are on the same exact number. What number is that? Yes, the 12. So if the little hand and the big hand are on the 12, that means that the hour is what? 12 is correct, yes. And if the big hand or the minute hand is on the 12 as well, what time is it for minutes? Yes, you could say o'clock. Now let's try writing it. Remember, we have to be able to write it, show it in a digital format, show it digitally. So let's look at that. We have the 12. Remember, the hour comes first. And then 00, that's your minutes. Remember, anytime the minutes are pointed at the 12, it's going to be 00 for minutes. Again, the 12, the little hand tells us 12, and the big hand pointed at the 12, which is your minutes, is going to be 00. O'clock means 00. Let's look at number two. Now, number two has your hands. You see there are clearly two hands there. They're not together this time. Now, use your little eyes and find where is the hour hand. Remember, it's very important that we can tell the difference between the hour hand and the minute hand. The hour hand is going to be yes, the little hand. So where is that little hand pointed? What number on that clock is it pointed to? It is on the 6. You are correct. So it is 6 o'clock. Now let's go right underneath it to the digital. Now they have given us the minutes because remember, o'clock means 00. Repeat after me. O'clock means 00. So, but we are missing the hour. So what did you tell me the hour was? Remember, find that little hand. Where is it pointing? Yes, it's pointed on the 6. So because it's pointed on the 6, that means it is 6 o'clock or 6:00. Good job. Number 3, we have clearly two hands here on this clock, this yellow clock. Where is the hour hand pointed? On the 1, that's correct. So it is 1, fill it in, o'clock. What about if we were going to write it digitally? How would we write it? We would write it as, what is the hour? Remember, hour goes first. Yes, 1. And then what comes after the 1? 00. Good job. Let's look at number 4. This will be the last one we practice together. We have a green clock, and again, the two hands are clearly shown. And we have the hour hand. Remember, the hour hand is the what hand? Yes, the little hand. So the little hand is pointed to the 8. So it's 8. And the minute hand is pointed to 12 when we say what in words? 8 o'clock. Yes, 8 o'clock. And then the rectangle underneath, the green rectangle, we have to write it in numbers. So what is your hour? Remember, hour comes first. Yes, 8. And what's going to come next? 00, which makes it 8 o'clock. You guys did an awesome job. You do have some practice that you're going to do on your own with this telling time to the hour. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.